A poor single dad let a lost girl stay the night. He didn't know her father was a millionaire. It was almost midnight when someone knocked on my door. Not a timid knock, not a desperate one, just a quiet, steady rhythm. Like someone who wasn't afraid of the dark, or the neighborhood, or the man who lived inside. I remember standing there, hand frozen on the doorknob, listening to the wind push dust across the empty street. My son slept in the next room, breathing softly, his little chest rising and falling like a reminder of everything I had left to lose. Another knock, calmer than the first, almost polite. I opened the door. A girl stood under the flickering porch light, thin, trembling, her clothes muddy, hair tangled like she'd run through the night. She couldn't have been older than 19. Her eyes lifted to mine, wide, frightened, but trying to mask it with a shaky half-smile. "Sir, I'm sorry. I'm lost," her voice cracked. She hugged her arms around herself, the cold cutting straight through her. I should have said no. Every instinct told me to. A poor single dad doesn't open his door to strangers, not in this town, not at night. But something in her expression, like she'd been carrying a weight too heavy for even the darkness, made my hand loosen from the door. "Please," she whispered, "just for tonight. I won't be a problem." For a moment, the silence stretched so long it felt like we were suspended in it. Her eyes were scared, but not the kind of scared that lies. So I stepped aside. And that was the night everything changed. The night my broken world collided with someone else's secrets. The night I unknowingly let a millionaire's daughter sleep under my roof. She sat at my small kitchen table, fingers wrapped around a warm mug. My house was barely held together, walls peeling, heater coughing, one light forever flickering like it was too tired to stay alive. My son, Noah, peeked from behind the hallway. I motioned him back to bed. "It's okay, just a guest." The girl watched him disappear, something soft flickering in her eyes. "You have a kid," she murmured. "Yes." "You're doing this alone?" "Yes." She nodded slowly, like she was absorbing more than my words. I didn't ask her questions, not at first. I didn't want to scare her. I'd seen enough broken souls to recognize one when it walked into my house. But after a while, she spoke on her own. "My phone died," she said quietly. "I got separated from my friends, and I didn't want to call home." Her voice tightened on the last word. "Why not?" I asked. Her eyes lowered. "Because home isn't always safe." The sentence hung between us like a bruise. She stayed vague, carefully stepping around every detail. I waited, thinking she'd eventually give me a name, an address, something, but she didn't. She just stared out the window, like something out there was hunting her. I let her take the couch for the night, gave her one of Noah's spare blankets. As I walked down the hallway, I heard her whisper, barely audible, but heavy with something she didn't want me to hear. "Thank you, whoever you are." Something inside me tightened, because people only say that when they have no one else left. By morning, she was still asleep, curled small, like someone bracing for invisible blows. I let her rest. I took Noah to school, pretended everything was normal, but nothing felt normal. Her clothes were expensive, dirtied, torn, but expensive. The kind of fabric you don't buy in this neighborhood. The shoes alone cost more than my monthly rent. When I came back home, she was awake, sitting at the table again, staring at her hands. "Morning," I said. She nodded but didn't smile. "I should go," she murmured. "Where?" She hesitated, then lied. "Just away." Something cold crawled into my stomach. "Does someone know you're missing?" I asked gently. "No." "Are you sure?" Her jaw clenched. I said no, but her eyes said yes. I didn't push. She asked if she could stay one more night, only one. Her hands trembled as she asked, like she already expected me to refuse, but I didn't. That evening, Noah warmed up to her. He showed her his broken toys, his drawings, his favorite book with ripped corners. She listened to him like every word mattered. No adult ever listened to him like that. And she laughed softly, like she hadn't heard her own laughter in a long time. But later, after Noah fell asleep, I saw her in the hallway, clutching her phone, staring at the dead black screen like she was afraid of it. "You can use my charger," I said. She startled, hard. No," she choked. "No, I can't." Her reaction was too sharp, too panicked. Something deeper was happening, something she wasn't telling me. That night, when she finally slept, I stepped outside to take out the trash. That's when I saw the black SUV parked at the end of the street. Its headlights were off. Its engine wasn't. Someone was inside, watching the house, watching her. My heart froze. I stood there for a long moment, the cold biting into my skin, fear curling tight in my lungs. Someone was looking for her, and they knew where she was. By morning, the SUV was gone, but the fear wasn't. When she woke up, her face was pale, her eyes shadowed like she hadn't slept at all. I decided to stop pretending nothing was wrong. "Who was in the SUV?" I asked. Her head snapped up. "What SUV?" "The one parked outside, all night." Her breath hitched. Her fingers tightened around the blanket she held like a shield. "He found me," she whispered. "Who?" Her lips trembled. Tears gathered, held back by sheer force. "My father." I froze. She continued, voice cracking. "He's rich, very rich, and he likes control more than he likes people. I ran away last night after he—" She stopped, looked at the floor. "He hurt someone I cared about." Her chest heaved, her hands shook. "And he blamed me for it." A sickening weight settled in my stomach. "He's not looking for a daughter," she whispered. "He's looking for a problem to erase." She lifted her eyes to mine, broken, terrified, desperate. "I didn't know where else to go. I saw your porch light. I thought, maybe someone here would just treat me like a person." The truth hit me like a quiet, brutal punch. She wasn't lost. She was running for her life. I stood there, swaying slightly, absorbing the reality that the man looking for her was powerful, dangerous, and wealthy enough to make problems disappear without leaving a trace. I nodded. "Okay," I said softly. "You're safe here." But even as I said it, I knew it wasn't true. The knock came 3 hours later. Slow, heavy, certain. I opened the door because there was no point pretending I wasn't home. A man stood on my porch, tall, perfectly dressed, posture carved from arrogance. 2 bodyguards hovered behind him. He smiled without warmth. "Good morning," he said smoothly. "I'm looking for my daughter." His eyes slid past me and scanned the house. Every detail, every crack. I kept my voice flat. "There's no one here by that description." His smile sharpened. "You're a single father, aren't you? Working 2 jobs, struggling." He crossed his arms casually. "You don't seem like a man who can afford to lie to someone like me." I stayed silent. He tapped the railing lightly. "She ran away. She's unstable. She needs help." A lie wrapped in silk. I'd heard the truth in the girl's voice. His tone was too perfect, too controlled. I recognized that kind of control because I spent years living under someone like him. A man who never raised his voice because he didn't need to. A man whose threats were soft because his power was loud. His gaze drifted inside. "May I come in?" "No." He blinked. Behind me, I felt the girl trembling in the hallway, hiding but listening. Waiting. "Last chance," he murmured. "If she's here, hand her over. I'll compensate you generously." My jaw tightened. "I said she isn't here." He stepped closer, eyes cold now. "A poor man like you shouldn't pick fights that cost more than your life is worth." The air thinned. But something inside me hardened, quietly, fiercely. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't step back. I won't give you someone who's afraid of you. His expression flickered for the first time. Anger, real anger, bare and sharp. But he didn't lunge, didn't shout. Men like him don't break their image unless absolutely necessary. Instead, he leaned in. You'll regret this. Then he walked away, bodyguards following, their footsteps too soft for the weight they carried. When the SUV disappeared, I shut the door. The girl collapsed to her knees, shaking violently. "You shouldn't have done that," she cried. "He won't stop until he gets what he wants." I knelt beside her. "Neither will I." And I meant it. It took 2 days for things to settle. 2 days of checking windows, locking doors, watching shadows. 2 days of her flinching at every sound. But something shifted slowly, first in her breathing, then in her silence. She stopped looking at the door like it was a monster. She started sitting with Noah, helping him read, fixing his broken toy car. She smiled, not often, not fully, but enough to tell me she was healing in ways her father never allowed. Then, on the 3rd morning, she came to me with a small, sad smile. "I'm leaving today." Pain twisted somewhere deep inside. Me, not romantic, not possessive, just human. The kind of ache that comes when someone you've protected finally stands on their own. "You sure?" I asked softly. "Yes," she inhaled. "Not to him. Never again. I have an aunt across the state. She'll take me in. She'll help me disappear." I nodded. No argument. No attempt to keep her. I wasn't her savior, just the man who opened the door when no one else did. She stepped closer. "You changed something in me," she whispered. "People like you, people who help without wanting anything. I didn't know they still existed." I didn't know what to say. She pressed a folded note into my hand. "For your son," she murmured. "For what you gave me. Safety, honesty, a place to breathe." She didn't explain what was inside. She didn't need to. Then she hugged me, barely a second, trembling but real, and walked toward the bus stop with a small backpack and a new spine in her posture. I didn't follow. Some journeys aren't meant to be witnessed. When I finally opened the note, my breath caught. Inside was a check, a bank check, with more zeros than I had ever seen in my life. No message, no signature, just one handwritten phrase: "For the night you gave me what money never could." I stood there for a long time, the wind moving quietly across the yard, my heart beating with something between disbelief and clarity. She wasn't paying me off. She was freeing me, freeing my son, freeing our future. And I realized something strange, something quiet and final. I didn't regret opening the door, not even for a moment. Some people aren't lost, they're escaping. And sometimes, they just need someone poor enough to still believe in humanity. I closed the door behind me, and for the first time in years, it didn't feel like I was shutting the world out. It felt like I was finally letting something good in.
How could you do this?